Hi, I'm Dr. Allison Rogers. I'm a gynecologist and fertility specialist in Chicago. I've been getting asked a lot of questions from teens about all kinds of...
I shared my blog on Facebook back in the day when Facebook was like the main and only thing. And from there, I started posting about fertility on social media. In 2019, my older daughter at the time, who was like maybe 11 or 12 years old, her friends would come and ask questions and we'd be like, oh, I bet if these people have questions, so many other people out there have questions and don't maybe have a friend's mom who's a gynecologist to ask. So we started answering questions and I grew from nothing to 1.2 million followers on TikTok. It was like totally crazy.
I'm Lily and this is
Dr. Allison Rogers.
And today we're going to be...
She asked if I would help her because I could help connect to younger kids and make it more personable.
Hi guys, and welcome to our tampon series.
I had an older girl in my youth group. She told me that my mom's videos really helped her because she didn't know how to use a tampon. And after watching the video, she was able to, for the first time, because before that she was too scared to talk to anyone about it.
My husband likes to show videos about Sperm Monday to his coworkers to say yeah, this is what my wife does. This is kind of what you're looking for.
I've definitely had comments on videos that are like, I can't believe you're talking about this kind of stuff. And I think everyone needs to parent the way they see fit, but your kids are gonna learn about sex and sexually transmitted infections and all kinds of stuff on their own. You might as well provide good information and accurate information.
Causes of infertility. Number one, chlamydia. Having chlamydia, which 70% of people never know they had.
When I first started, I didn't know that I had fertility issues. And I was telling Dr. Rogers how, I haven't gotten my period and, it's so weird after stopping this medication. She says, oh, let's go ahead and do some workup. Let's see what's going on with you. And we did, and we found out that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. We ended up having to go through IVF. So I agreed with my husband, okay, fine, we'll put in 2 embryos per Dr. Rogers' recommendations. We'll put in 2, but I know I'm gonna get twins. And what did we get? We got twins.
That's ridiculous. Don't say things like that. That's your first lie. Immediately no.
We conceived our first child, no problems at all, while I was a resident. And then when we were ready to have our second baby, it wasn't happening. And I needed to end up going through fertility treatment, which was just weird because I got pregnant so easily on my own the first time. So we went through medication cycles, we went through insemination cycles, we went through IVF cycles. I lost several pregnancies. And then finally I was successful. When I was in the middle of it, I had a colleague say to me, this is gonna be so great for your career. And I wanted to probably punch him in the nose at the time, right? It was the worst thing that could ever happen to me is the way I felt at the time, right? And I think that what he meant was you can really relate to your patients in a very unique way.
Library Graham had a session tonight where they voted on whether or not a book should be allowed in there. This book about women's reproductive health. Dr. Allison K. Rogers.
The publisher actually approached me and asked if I would write that book after, finding me on social media. So I feel like social media has opened all these doors to all these things. I'd always wanted to write a book, and they'd already had the idea for the project, they already had the illustrator, and they needed a writer.
When she first told me she was writing a book, I was like, tell me more about it. And she said, it's gonna be kind of like a board book, but for tweens and young adults to talk about the things that no one talks about, to talk about puberty, to talk about intercourse, to talk about period underwear, those sorts of things.
In terms of being accessible, right, there's a lot of public libraries that have banned this book because they thought it was too adult for the children's section. And there's definitely been some places that require an adult to check out the book for the child or adult permission.
Amputate your labia majora and it'll just grow back the same way that a lizard's tail grows back.
Please do not cut off parts of your body. They will not grow back.
She talks a lot about what's online that's not true because there's a lot of misinformation, especially on TikTok. So I think that's one of the base messages. And then also inclusivity, she talks a lot about LGBTQ plus fertility, and I think that's also important to make sure everyone's included in like these conversations.
I think people out there need to be smart, right? Like this is like, you can't just believe everything you see on social media. And so I think people need to weed through and figure out what information applies to them and from who are you taking the information. Things to help you get pregnant after an embryo transfer. Let's check it out. Pomegranate juice, full of vitamins, will not help you get pregnant. Nope.
I think it's very easy to see her passion and compassion for her patients. I think the education and the information that she's sharing is so important, and that fertility and women's rights and women's reproductive autonomy is such a poignant topic today that I think it's nice to have more education out there.
It's the end of April. I am ready to share my count for the first 4 months of the year. 114 babies on the way after the first 4 months of the year. Don't give up. Like, there is always a pathway to a baby, right? Like, it is really hard to go through infertility, and I think a lot of people feel hopeless. And I think that everyone should just realize there's probably a lot more hope to be had than they might think.